The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Coming up tonight, quickly jumping to subdue any anxiety of there being an early election, the Office of the Prime Minister says the idea is not something that the Prime Minister is considering. Also tonight, with election talks in the media and on social media, an eyewitness news poll that allowed for open and free responses reveals a lot on how the outcome of an election would be if it were called today. And later, former South Andros and Mangrove Key MP Picewell Forbes is here to defend his record after serving 3 terms. Is he looking for a nomination ahead of 2026? That's the question for you. It's all straight ahead tonight. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. Well, opposition leader Michael Pintard feels an early election might be possible. That got tongues wagging. He made the observation yesterday during a media appearance. However, today, the Office of the Prime Minister quickly knocked the idea down, denying that the Prime Minister is headed in that direction. Encouraged by Pintard's statements, well, here's what Eyewitness News did. Eyewitness News thought to conduct a poll on how you, regular Joe Blow, would vote if an election were called today. Now, you should know that the poll opened at 2 o'clock this afternoon and closed at 7 o'clock this evening. So, here's the question that our social media team posted this afternoon, and hundreds of you responded and had your own chatter back and forth on our official Facebook page. Here's the question. If a general election were to be called today, who would get your vote? Here's how it all polled. So the poll showed the PLP, Progressive Liberal Party, will win with 41% of the votes. The FNM, Free National Movement, will come in second with 26% of the votes. The COI, Coalition of Independents, third with 18% of the votes. And 15% of you responded that you would choose another party. And so this evening, that's exactly where we start. It's telling, right? What do you think about that? I'll tell you, it was a scientific poll in that they had it all set up nicely. You went and you clicked exactly where you wanted to click. And of course, it all registered on its own. And then the tabulations and everything happened on its own. No interference with the social media people. I know them well. This is what they said to me just before airtime this evening. And so welcome to the show. Pull up a chair. Let's get started. Of course, I'd like to welcome Beyond the Headlines contributors, Ellington Ferguson and Garth Rosborough. Gentlemen, good evening to both of you.
Pleasant good evening to everyone.
Good evening, Shanique. Good evening, Bahamas. Certainly, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me once again.
Absolutely. It's good to have you, Ellington. Gentlemen, does the outcome of that poll surprise you any?
Not quite. I think I would think that the FNM would get a little more than 26%, maybe around 31%. But generally, from what I'm feeling, that is the temperature on the ground in the country today.
Well, I'm just hearing on the ground presently that right now it is favorable to the Progressive Liberal Party. The people on the ground are expecting much more to come from the opposition to the Free National Movement. That has not yet been delivered. They feel as if the Free National Movement is nothing more than just a sounding board for every issue in the country, but at the same time not bringing any credible solutions. I do believe that a young Michael Pintard, who is now the leader of the Royal Opposition, he has to bring more to the table if he's going to convince especially young voters, to do their part in this upcoming general election. As we look at the registry presently at this particular time, I hear people talking, but I'm not sure they're yet registered to vote at this time.
So you're saying he must bring more to the table?
He has to bring more to the table. The mere fact that they've just suffered the loss of several people within the party, key people. Right now, we have not seen any replacement of these people. We've not seen any mad rush of people running into the party, even though they've been saying there are people who are breaking down the doors. I heard Mr. Kwesi Thompson say that. Or people are breaking down the door. I think it was Kwesi Thompson or the Secretary General.
Where are they doing this, in Grand Bahama?
That's what they're saying.
Well,
the Secretary General made mention of that.
Don't go so fast, because we can talk about both parties in a minute. Let's just hear the fact that this official response really from the Office of the Prime Minister. So, of course, we know political tensions are building, and not even slowly. They're at good momentum now. The government is now pushing back against claims that the country could be heading to the polls sooner than expected. The comments came from, of course, Michael Pintard, as I said. And so now he says, the reason he said it, y'all, get this, y'all. He says it's quite suspicious. The uptick in contract signings, groundbreakings, and public project launches, warning that it could be the prelude to a snap general election. Now, you all, we know what happened and what happens generally in the lead up to elections and all the rest of it. What are your thoughts about what he said about all the contracts that are being signed? Is it just happening now in this uptick in new contracts being awarded?
I think, Shanique, we have about a year before general election is called. And I think Prime Minister Davis, I never thought that, I heard the opposition have alluded to that on several occasions. I never once suspected that the governing party, the Progressive Liberal Party, had any idea or intention to call an early election. When I see the activities of the Progressive Liberal Party, they're all about trying to carry out and fulfill their mandate. They try to get things off, projects that they have in the pipeline, they're trying to get that off. So I don't see where a Brave Davis would even be considering at this juncture, when he have so much going on and so much more to bring out that he had.
So has there been an uptick though, or is this just the PLP continuing what it started?
In an election year, it normally upticks, absolutely.
Okay.
But I don't see that meaning an early election. I think this is the year when they've got to get everything in. They've got to pull people together. They've got to do some things. They've got to touch some people. And that's the way the politics go. But I don't see that translating into an early general election, not from the perspective of the direction that I see the Prime Minister is taking.
Well, I'll take a look back almost 50 years ago to 1977 election, when the Progressive Liberal Party actually won 30 seats in that election. Henry Boswick, John Boswick now, who has passed, all honor to them and their family. They won 6 seats, and the Free National Movement won only 2, Shanique Miller. And so this could possibly be a July election, and we can see if those numbers will reflect the same. Like I said, at this particular time, looking at all accounts, the Progressive Liberal Party is the favorite party at this particular time.
So, of course, today, I'll let you jump in right now, but I want you both to hear Press Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister, Keishla Adderley, today speaking officially to this and saying, listen, y'all, hold your horses, don't rush out the gate with this. Here's what Prime Minister Davis is doing.
The only person who has the decision to make on a date of election is the Prime Minister. He has not given so much of a hint of any such pending event. What the Prime Minister is continuing to do is to fulfill the objectives laid out in his blueprint for change and the mandate given by the Bahamian electorate back in 2021. He continues to work on key objectives like lowering the cost of living, improving the quality of life for Bahamians. We can look at cost-cutting measures like the reduction in VAT, the big slash in electricity bills, the sourcing of food from new sources so that they aren't priced out of the reach of Bahamians, the constructions of homes here in New Providence and on the Family Islands, 120 completed and counting. So that is what the Prime Minister is focused on, and I would sooner focus on the more delivery of the objectives of the administration than an election date, including a very big announcement very soon. So stay tuned for that.
Well, there it is. Keishla Adderley saying, listen, the Davis administration and the Prime Minister, whom she works very closely with, is staying laser-focused. Her words, laser-focused on many of the promises they made in their blueprint, in fulfilling a number of those. And so, gentlemen, this is where we break it down. Let's look at the governing Progressive Liberal Party. What are some of the, and we hear it and we see many things happening. There are many things happening. In fact, just last evening, as I mentioned very, very briefly, seeing images that have now been shared and gone viral, talking about Mayaguana Airport and just a number of different things that they are now saying, hey, look what we're doing. But where is this part? Where is this government falling weak?
Well, we're getting reports from several people on the ground. I spend a lot of time in South Beach, and there was some murmuring on social media about South Beach. No personal attack to the Member of Parliament Bacchus Roll. I have investigated, I've spoken to some people who said that he has been making efforts, but some of the issues of South Beach, it is not a very easy constituency.
What are some of the issues there that have gone unaddressed that people are talking about?
Young people, this generation wants to be touched. Touch means that when they hear that their family and friends throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas has now received little contracts and little jobs, and they do not have these jobs, to their own device, they feel as if they've been left out. They feel as if the governor has forgotten them. They want to see the Member of Parliament because they want the Member of Parliament to give them a gift.
So they're not seeing the Member of Parliament?
That's what they're complaining about, that they're not seeing, they're not touching. But of course, the Member of Parliament cannot touch everybody. The type system that we have in politics almost makes it impossible to appease everybody. And so Bacchus Roll being, I think he is a parliamentary secretary, the type of strength that he would have for a constituency such as South Beach, which is quite enormous. It is a traditional seat, it's never voted the same way twice for some time now. And these people are always prone to change their Member of Parliament and change the party in government.
But what kind of MP has he been, though? I mean, he's been quiet. He's been quiet. I've not seen an impression from him either, whether good or bad. He's just been there. You just know that he makes up the number.
I've seen him in the South Beach area by the pools. He started out with a big bang. I met Miss Butterfield, one of his assistants, got to know her. He's had some events at the hotels for his constituency, some awards and so forth. Mm-hmm. He has made the initial effort. But as of lately, I know they've cleaned up the South Beach area. I don't know who is responsible for that. But if you look at the side of the roads around the pool area, you remember we had the incident with the young lady from the school that had that mishap, that murder that took place. All in that area there has now been cleared. The bushes have been cleared. And so now it's safer to walk in South Beach again. Is that sufficient for the people on the ground in South Beach? I can't say because, like I said, they're still making complaints.
And if I may, Shanique, I think, yes, I can join in and agree with God. I have seen some movement on social media with Bacchus Roll doing some things, whether or not it was sufficient to impact South Beach, whether it was what South Beach people needed, that's to be questioned. That's the question that needs to be answered. But I have seen some activities with him doing things in the constituency, doing having meetings, having seminars, doing stuff with men and the youth and stuff like that. So maybe he's not reaching all sectors there. Sometimes members of parliament, they tend to focus in one segment of the constituency. I don't know if that's the case here, but obviously based on what is being said, that some people are still dissatisfied with the level of representation that they're getting out there in South Beach. I'm not sure exactly what the real issue is, but yes, I have seen some things taking place in his constituency on the social feed.
Some things isn't going to be good enough. Mm-hmm. What's going to be good enough if more than half of your constituency is saying, listen, this person is present and accounted for. We know what he's been doing. Even when he's not able to be there, he has a great team around him that gets out there and ensure that things are being addressed, needs are being met. And I'm not saying, and being means get out of the fact that, you're doing this when you say needs are being met. Mm-hmm. And yes, those things have their place in terms of, to get opportunities, of course, to build a business or something. Yes, but what I'm saying is, because I remember last year Leslie Miller called that Bacchus Roll name on this show, basically saying that he was not impressed at that point. Just wondering, since there's been this rhetoric that's now picked up again on social media as it relates to his representation, has he dropped the ball any?
Shanique, you said something that is key. Building a team. A lot of time, members of parliament, they like the star spotlight, and it hurts them. Sometimes you've got to be able to empower people to do certain things within the constituency. And so if you set up a whole operation where you have teams that would work various part of the constituency, when people see the teams, they can feel you, or the teams can go out, they can do things to the constituency, and the message get back to you. Where there are cases where you need to go that yourself, you can go directly into that area that is calling for your direct presence. And so with the lack of a team, it's going to stretch a member of parliament throughout an entire constituency. Some of these in constituency, for example, South Beach stretch from one part of East Street all the way over to Blue Hill Road, and it's huge, just like many of the other constituencies. And so team building is very important. Empower people in the constituency, teams to reach out in different segments, different polling areas, different communities. And that's another thing. You have different demographic in some of these communities. And you've
reach all, because they all voted for you. So
you've got to put different teams to reach.
Is there any other area that the PLP is weak?
Well, before you move on, Shanique, the thing with Ellington has to recognize what South Beach makes it so difficult. Their parents and their grandparents were employees of Patelco, BEC, Water and Sewage, and many of government agencies.
So it was the original middle class.
These were stable families and a very solid middle class. These people have now moved on. Their children and grandchildren are now there. You hear a lot of gang activity in South Beach. It's not a totally safe area. In terms of economics, these young people, many of them, the men especially, young boys especially, are unemployed. So they spend a lot of time on the blocks. Every time you see these people, they need something. The Member of Parliament is not going to be equipped sufficiently in South Beach to appease everybody. This is why every 5 years there's been a flop, flip-flop, 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 because there are too many people in South Beach that has needs. Until we find a system or somebody who can go into South Beach and revolutionize South Beach, nothing else is going to happen. South Beach has a whole lot of work to be done. You can go ahead and put Wi-Fi on the beach. It needs a bathroom on the beach. It needs a breaking wall in terms of floods. If you remember the flooding time, 15 feet of water in South Beach. Serious issues. And so these things all have to be addressed. It's going to take someone with some deep pockets and a whole lot of resources.
Yeah, quite interesting. Any other area that the PLP is falling weak? Well, then let's shift. Let's shift because the leader of the opposition got this discussion started. And so let's look overall then at the Free National Movement. Okay. Where, and Garth, you kind of jumped in earlier, but where is the Free National Movement falling weak?
Well, the whole campaign seems very weak to me. But now that Iram Lewis has crossed the floor to the Coalition of Independence, there's much conversation in this very area, I think, of Central Grand Bahama. We've heard of some names coming out of Central Grand Bahama. We're all pondering and wondering what is the effect of an Iram Lewis leaving the Free National Movement. Who's going to fill his shoes? Is that person going to be strong enough to keep the tradition of Central Grand Bahama to be a winning seat for the Free National Movement? If this is under threat, a strong seat in the Free National Movement, does this also reflect that other seats in the Free National Movement may also fall under threat? We know the strong seats of St. Anne's. We know the strong seats of Long Island. Now we're looking at St. Barnabas. Does Shannon Cartwright, the deputy leader of the Free National Movement, does he have sufficient to overcome a Michael Akitas in St. Barnabas? That's under question. And so I ponder right now about the building of the Free National Movement. I've always said they have a lot of work to be done. Right now, the party is not showing strength to the community of the Bahamian people, but they keep on saying they're strong and ready.
Who?
What's that?
Who's not showing strength?
The Free National Movement.
The Free National Movement.
And the people are asking for more from them, but we've not gotten enough as a community and a people.
Well, we understand certain areas are looking quite questionable. That Shannon Dawn is his seat is looking, or his chances in that constituency. The people in St. Barnabas love him,
but loving got nothing to do with it. If you cannot meet the needs of your community and you cannot assist them along the way, your seat is now going to be in question. You're going to be looked upon as being weaker than you were before.
Okay, so listen, I'll tell you, remember I talked about that Eyewitness News poll. I had nothing to do with it. So don't...
You had nothing to do with that, Janine?
Nothing at all.
You didn't pen it yourself? You didn't use AI?
Didn't. Our social media team. Now, I'll tell you this. We had a total of 322 responses from anybody, anywhere.
Wow.
I have some late figures for you. Even though the polls closed at 7 o'clock, one of the social media team just sent this information to me. I'll share with you exactly what's changed, what's going on, where it's trending right after this break. This is Beyond the Headlines. We're going to take a break and come back with much more after this.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is now City of Hope, creating one of the leading cancer care and research networks from coast to coast, providing more of what you need. More locations means more care closer to home. More specialists means more expertise. More research means more breakthroughs. More advancements means more treatment options. And more options means more hope. Call now to get more of the care you need.
Security Depot makes shopping in the Bahamas easy. Shop the latest appliances, electronics, furniture, gadgets, toys, and so much more on our website, securitydepot242.com. See an item you like? Simply click on it, move to cart, and check out with the option of in-store pickup or home delivery. Endless possibilities are at securitydepot242.com.
Rejuvenate, refresh, treat yourself. Immerse yourself in total comfort. Pamper yourself. After all, you're worth it. Relax. Rid yourself of all life's stresses. At Baja Retreat Anti-Aging Spa, you will find everything you need to enhance your body and spirit. Call today at 323-6711 and begin your journey to serenity at Baja Retreat Anti-Aging Spa.
At the Water and Sewage Corporation, safety and convenience are our top priorities. However, our meter readers face challenges that can make their job difficult. Locked gates to guard dogs sometimes leads to missed readings and estimated bills, which can be frustrating for you and us. That's why we're upgrading to digital meters. They bring safety, accuracy, and convenience to homes across the Bahamas. We can streamline data collection, reduce on-site visits, and provide more accurate bills with no more estimates. Digital meters also help detect leaks early, saving you from costly bills and reducing water waste. Soon, a user-friendly app will let you track your water usage, manage bills, and stay informed, all at your fingertips. Over the next year, we're rolling out digital meters nationwide, transforming how we serve you with a safer and cost-efficient water supply. To learn about our digital meters, visit our website or call us today. And don't forget to update your information at any of our locations.
Welcome to Blissful Escapes, where luxury meets affordability. Whether you're seeking relief from aches and pains or simply looking to indulge in some well-deserved pampering, relax and detox in our infrared sauna. Enjoy a soothing Swedish massage or an invigorating exfoliating body scrub. We also provide advanced facial treatments using cutting-edge technology, including hydrofacial, microneedling, and microcurrent therapies, located at the shops of Cable Beach Plaza.
Keep the Vibe Alive Music Group presents The Legends of Rake Spray. Get ready for the biggest names in Bahamian music live on stage. KB, Funky D, Chino D, D-Ma, Sweet Emily, Simeon Outen, Veronica Bishop, and more like the Singing Bishop. Mark your calendars for Saturday, May 10th at the Farm, Marshall Road. Gates open at 6 p.m. General admission 80, VIP 120. Tickets available at Missouri, Bungie Brand at the Beauty Shack, both locations. Skyboxes and Skypod. Call ESC Distributors at 394-0819. Or email keepthevibealive242@gmail.com. Saturday, May 10th, come by boat and play and experience the legends of Rake and Scrape. Brought to you by Keep the Vibe Alive Music Group, ESC Distributors, Missouri, The Plug, The Beauty Shack, Bahama Sea, Bookie Brand, and Caribbean Wines and Spirits.
If you enjoy watching Beyond the Headlines, take advantage of our exclusive offers with 4 15-minute interview segments at $1,200 and 20 30-second TV ads at $2,000. Contact 557-0258 or 557-0259 for more information. Go beyond with Beyond the Headlines.
This segment of Beyond the Headlines is brought to you by the Legends of Rake and Scrape, May 10th at the Farm, Marshall Road.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. Of course, I want to say hello to all of you watching, especially the folks at the National Insurance Board. and Senior Operations Manager Ray Angelo Seymour. Thank you all so much for watching. I know you tune in every evening, and all of you, wherever you're watching, thank you so much for tuning in. I tell you, the social media people told me that the votes are still coming, even though the polls closed well over an hour ago. An hour and 32 minutes ago, they said it's still coming in, so hopefully they can get something to me before the show ends. You all, we were talking about the performance of some MPs. I asked if the PLP is weak in any other areas, what is happening, because we're doing this because, one, the leader of the opposition feels with all the I guess, activities that's happening around the nation that there could be an early election. You heard the press secretary and the office of the prime minister say, no such thing, that this administration and the prime minister is staying the course. And of course, so we're looking at both organizations in particular, where they stand, what they've done, how fit they seem, and just sort of where maybe perhaps are the weak areas that both need to pull up their socks at in order to get the attention of, to get the confidence of the Bahamian people. And so we were speaking of, just before the break, we were talking about the Free National Movement. Of course, it's still open if you all want to perhaps look at even the governing party and see areas in which, whether it's members of parliament or some sort of national infrastructure work, whatever, where they are falling weak. But we were speaking of the Free National Movement, and Ellington, I know that you were going to jump in.
Yes, absolutely. And while the PLP has a lot of misgivings that they've had to deal with, I don't think that the Free National Movement have been able to capitalize sufficiently on the misgiving of the Progressive Liberal Party. I don't think they were able to strike a good enough balance as it relates to even responding to issues and dealing effectively. It's been 4 years now, and in this last year, this election year, you have the Free National Movement still fighting among itself, among its members. You would think by now we would have seen a well-oiled machinery. You would think that by now we would have had a strong message going to the Bahamian people from the Free National Movement, but rather you see members that are now jockeying, or almost, if I may say, playing musical chairs. You got a word on the ground that there's movement taking place in Kalani. There's movement taking place in St. Barnabas. There's movement taking place in even Marco City,
but where's the movement
where the leader seat is.
Let's break that down. Where's the movement in Kalani?
Word on the ground is now that they're putting another strong FNM, Dr. Dwayne Sands, to run in Kalani.
That's what they're saying?
I've not heard that.
I've not heard that.
That is what I've heard. That's news coming to me. Okay, and so you have all of these little earthquake, all of these little platelets moving and shaking on the ground, and it's not good for the party at this juncture.
And what's happening in Marco City?
Marco City, there's word that the leader may not even run in Marco City.
I know a lot is going to be said, gentlemen, in between now and 2026, and so we just have to wait. Now, what can be said? Because I have not heard Dr. Sands looking at Kalani. I have not heard it. I don't even believe it. But what can be said is the FNM has pushed back its rollout of candidates several times now. Why do you suppose that is?
Well, there's a strong belief within the Free National Movement camp that there has been time past where they've selected a number of candidates within 6 months of an election and they have won. And so they have this strong belief.
It's going to what's tried and tested.
Yeah, they believe that people will vote out the government as opposed to voting for them. This, I do believe, is a very weak position. We have been calling for the Free National Movement to be a stronger entity. We would not even have this discussion tonight about a poll. If we're talking about the Progressive Liberal Party being the victor in this upcoming election, that can only happen based on tradition and based on the past if the Free National Movement themselves is falling short and falling weak. And I've been saying this from the beginning. You have a very weak form of leadership. Right now, we're even discussing, we're not even sure if the leader's going to run in his own seat. We're not sure if the deputy's going to run in his own seat. We're not sure if the chairman is going to run in his traditional seat of Elizabeth. What are we really discussing here? Do we have a Free National Movement on the run? And then you're upset with me because now you're saying to me, oh, God's talking garbage. But then you answer me, why is Travis Robinson wanting to leave Grantstown if he did such a great job in Baintown?
Where is he looking?
He's looking to go over to Fort Charlotte. You see, if you've done so well before, why are you moving? Why can't you go back to these people because you're an excellent MP? You want to blame Minister for your defeat in 2021. But it ain't minutes, it's you, because you already know I can't go back there. We got to have some honesty in this politics. I know politics is a dirty game, but the truth always comes out. We've been saying the truth on this program. I'm telling you people the truth. I have no horse in this race. But Free National Movement, if you do not get it together, I am telling you on the ground, people are saying they are not satisfied with the leadership of your party. They're not satisfied with the mechanism of your party. You have to get it together. The people are not feeling secured with you as the government of the Bahamas.
Okay, so then we see, I really wanted to hear more of the PLP because Michael is up in question. Who will run in Michael? I think it's 2 members of parliament on the PLP side who have said that they will not offer themselves again. That's Michael and North Eleuthera. And so who is to look there? Who is to look there? Who is best suited? Where are some of these members of parliament, where do they stand? Like, for example, Southern Shores. And the sitting member of parliament there. You mentioned the fact that there are some Free National Movement members of parliament who too are lacking and coming up wanting. And so it's going to be quite interesting to see how it all settles and plays out. I remember the Prime Minister gave, I think it was June, 8th or 6th as a date to make some big announcement. Will the government roll out its candidates then, or will there be some other sort of announcement? But go ahead, Garth.
Well, I'm saying that you don't have to change anything if the FNM doesn't bring anything. You have no threat. All PLP candidates at this time, with the FNM having no candidates, you're all secured right now. And until the Free National Movement brings anybody, I would sit where I am too and say, you know what, I'm running again.
And twiddle your thumbs.
You know, now you could imagine, I almost use my good friend, but she would never forgive me if I speak about her. But imagine if you had just a menial job before you went into the House of Assembly. Now you're a big shot, you're big to do in the House of Assembly, and then you lose your seat or you don't get a nomination. Now you're going to go back to your menial job. What are you going to do after that? You can't go back to a menial job. Why? Because the people will laugh and scorn you to death. And so right now, you people in the Progressive Liberal Party, if you know where you came from and God has blessed you to be where you are today, do all that you could with all your might to stay where you are, because I could tell you for free, out here on the streets, it ain't easy. When we talk about the cost of living and the difficulty in lifestyle today, it is so real,
so
it is unbelievable.
Who have been lazy MPs who are sitting now driving wonderful, big, air-conditioned, chauffeured vehicles, and you've been lazy, you're trying to say, start working now.
Well, many people go into politics just to simply secure themselves. The middle class, the new solution, the new savior for the middle class is, I'm running in politics. I'm gonna be a member of parliament.
Either that or go be a pastor or something.
Well, maybe gonna be no pastor no more because people stop paying tithe and offering. Even the pastors closing the church, and they saying, but ain't no money in church no more. So even them looking over at the Prime Minister say, boy, PM, I need a contract. PM, I need some crown land. PM, I need. And so the foreigners in this country on Bay Street when the fire took place, they calling on the PM, call somebody, the Deputy Prime Minister.
Foreigners say, Prime Minister, come see about us. Where you going? Listen, I want to go quickly to this story because it is believed that, we talked about the fire response in this nation last night.
Yes.
And the fact that it's totally embarrassing and lacking, particularly here in the capital in New Providence. It absolutely is disgraceful. Well, you all heard on this show last evening, the Member of Parliament for South and Central Abaco, John Pinder, say that, listen, many residents are now questioning, could arson be at play? Here's Linton Ritchie, and then we'll come back and talk.
Right now, it's under investigation, and once the fire department is completed, I'm just able to say exactly what is the cause of that fire.
Authorities confirm they are exploring all possibilities, including arson, as the cause behind the rash of raging fires that have engulfed parts of Abaco. During a recent interview on Beyond the Headlines, Central and South Abaco Member of Parliament John Pinder made it clear both he and firefighters on the ground believe there may be foul play involved.
It has gotten very, very bad. Unfortunately, I do think there's some arson at play.
For more than a week, wildfires have ravaged several Abaco settlements from Marsh Harbor to Treasure Key. Pinder revealed why those closest to the blazes believe arson is a factor that can't be ignored.
Fires are popping up in upwind areas that weren't affected before. You could look at one spot and then less than an hour later, it's lit right up.
Police press liaison officer Superintendent Stephen Roll told Eyewitness News that the fires are now contained, but hotspots continue to be monitored. And to fight the flames at their peak, reinforcements had to be called in.
Fire is now under control in Abaco. And we also sent out over 8 firefighters from officers from Nassau and 4 from Grand Bahama.
Now, MP Pinder says the $3 million water bomber plane is headed to the area north of Treasure Key to aid in firefighting efforts as aerial water dumping remains a critical tool in battling the blazes. Linton Ritchie Jr., Eyewitness News.
And so, gentlemen, you all see, of course, we know the issue. In fact, last evening there was a fire here in New Providence. This is outside of a fire that happened yesterday, late morning, early afternoon. Last night there was one. Today there was another. This fire situation that now the Bahamas is now have entered fire season. Mm-hmm. It really is something that has to be looked at, given close and very serious attention to, and have the necessary response and mechanisms in place so that firefighters are equipped to do their job.
I hope, I heard the member speak about it, and I hope that these issues are isolated incidents. I said, well, let me say this, even though I hope that they're isolated incident. I spoke to somebody from Abaco no later than yesterday. They were telling me, of course, people are still living in those forests, bushes, and some of those fires are being set deliberately, whether they get out of control by accident or whatever, but people are still doing the stuff that they were doing before. People are burning coal there in Abaco. So we need to pay attention to these, in apart from preventing these fires and people who may be setting some of these fires. We need to be prepared to deal with these fires. I think we have done a real poor job. I don't think sufficient attention have been paid from both administrations, Free National Movement and the Progressive Liberal Party, as it relates to the firefighting equipment in this country. We're left with some few equipments. You drive around to the various police stations that have facilities built for fire truck, and you see there's no fire truck in them. And so we have handcuffed the fighters in this country. And so we must do a better job, man. We must spend the funds and the resources of this country in a better manner. We must be more responsible. We must be better stewards with the resources of our country.
Well, I believe this government will have fire trucks on the way, but I just would like to say, Shanique Miller, I think we have another stakeholder that is not being mentioned at this time. We all pay our mortgages and we pay for insurance for our properties. Maybe we need to get the insurance companies involved to assist us in this type of situation. In terms of putting fire hydrants per square mile, maybe the insurance companies need to have some type of legislation put to them that they can actually install fire hydrants in communities to protect the assets of the citizenry of the Bahamas, because guess what? When that fire takes place, Sinead, the residents lose, the insurance company has to do a payout, we all lose. And so if you're going to protect homes from fire, why don't you assist us and the government by putting fire hydrants in our communities? After all, we are paying our insurance premiums.
Insurance company never loses.
Never. Never. Don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we're going to speak with Picewell Forbes, former MP of South Andros and Mangrove Key. And I want to know what he has to say. We talk a lot of politics tonight. Does he want to enter politics again? We'll talk about that when we come back after the break. Stay close.
Right now, it's on.
Enjoy zero-down financing on your next visit to Montague Motors. Our selection of cars come included with license, inspection, and a 3-month warranty. And with our easy 24 hours financing, you will be on the road in up to 48 hours. What makes Montague Motors different? We inspect our cars in Japan, providing you with the best quality purchase. Visit Montague Motors today, number 6 Village Road. Call or check our Facebook page for more information.
Celebrate the incredible women in your life this Mother's Day, and don't forget the special offer from Cornet Bahamas. From April 16th to May 16th, enjoy a fantastic 35% off store-wide. That's right, everything you need to show your love and appreciation is on sale. Whether it's a heartfelt gift for mom, a treat for yourself, or something special for that amazing woman in your life, we've got you covered. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Visit any one of our stores today. Make this Mother's Day unforgettable with Cornet Bahamas.
I feel good when you're wrapped up in my arms, dancing to a reggae song. Feel good, feel good. I feel good, 'cause your perfume isn't loud. and only I can talk about. Feel good, feel good. You feel like velvet rubbing over my skin. And when your head...
Do you ever just want more?
But wait, there's Marco's! Introducing the More Marco's menu, packed with your favorites starting at just $6. Like our warm, golden baked cheesy bread, crispy stuffed pozole. How about a hot, fresh, medium one-topping pizza? Subs, calzones, pizza bowls, and more. Starting at just $6. Certain restrictions apply. More variety, more value, more Marco's! Order today at Marco's Pizza, Bahamas.
The internet isn't just for surfing. There's a sea of shoppers buying online, and you can connect with them on Tingsy. Tingsy is the SBDC's online storefront built for Bahamians. Take your business to the next level by selling to customers online, both at home and around the world. People want Bahamian things, and if you got things to sell, sell on Tingsy. Find out how you can connect with a sea of buyers by visiting tingsybahamas.com.
Take sports seriously. Get ready to experience the thrill of winning anytime and any place. Bet in real time and live the thrill of every play while watching your winnings stack up. It's your chance to score big with fast payouts and a world-class experience. Get in the game and bet the Bahamian way with Island Luck Sportsbook.
So you want a space. But not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?
If you enjoy watching Beyond the Headlines, take advantage of our exclusive offers with 4 15-minute interview segments at $1,200 and 20 30-second TV ads at $2,000. Contact 557-0258 or 557-0259 for more information. Go beyond with Beyond the Headlines.
This segment of Beyond the Headlines is brought to you by EV Motors. Drive the future with brand new 2024 electric vehicles. EV Motors, powering your journey.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. It's good to have you continue joining us. I want to shift gears now to former South Andros and Mangrove Key Member of Parliament Picewell Forbes. Picewell Forbes, of course, watched a show last week, Beyond the Headlines, and he wanted to respond to comments made. Of course, he is the second longest serving Member of Parliament for South and Central Andros, quite successful, 15 years, and comments were made along the lines of, he didn't get much done. And the person who's sitting in the chair now, Leon Lundy, is managing to get some things done, even though he needs to do more things there in terms of road pavings and in the constituency. But of course, Mr. Forbes reached out to me. And I agreed. I'm like, look, come and talk about it. What's going on? And so welcome to Beyond the Headlines. It's good to have you here.
It's great to be here, Shanika. I'm glad to be able to defend my noble record. And it's good also to see Garth here earlier. And what is interesting, we go way back as brothers of the faith.
Look right here.
There's Brother Garth, and he's defending South Beach and the developments in South Beach in the New Providence-based community now. And there I am in a dichotomized district of Central, Mangrove Key, and South Andros. Never served as a minister, and elected the very first time as a backbencher. The second time I was made High Commissioner. Third time the PLB's walloped with power. 4 of us won our seats. And I was able to sit in that community after following giants such as Sir Lyndon Pinling and Darrell Rowe, Charles Thompson, Dr. Gay and others, R. Whitney Bastian. And in my very first term, I was able to cross the political lines, I would call it, and forge alliances. And there we were in Fresh Creek. Persons grocery were virtually landing in what I call the dirt. And Prime Minister Ingham at that time heard my cry and constructed a $40 million dock in Fresh Creek. We were able to get satellite dishes into communities at that time. We moved into the second term when the PLP came into power in 2012. But now Prime Minister Brave Davis became the Minister of Works. We were able to get docks done in Bearing Point. We had the same thing done in South Andros and Mars, where persons said would never happen, for example. We were able to get the best gymnasium in the country in South Andros.
You did this.
This happened. We went on the road. I want to say thanks to the late Basil Roll and also to Kendall Taylor, Carolyn Stewart, and others for their efforts in making this happen. We were able to hire any number of persons. Infrastructures were virtually falling apart.
So why did the people decide that after 15 good years, they no longer wanted Picewell Forbes? Do you think the PLP really assisted you in being the success that you could have been?
I think there were pockets of assistance in the South Andros community for me politically, but I also understand the reality of politics. Politics is one where you must have the good graces of all those who have the power, and I understood some things, and I decided to walk away from the game. I gave it my best shot. That's what I feel good about.
So the relationship was a bit thorny. It wasn't as good as it could have been, so you couldn't get as much as you wanted done.
And there were special interest groups that also came into play, and I understood the game that was being played. But I'm a PLP. I walked away from the game. I'm humbled by the results I heard earlier on your show, and I'm wishing for the very best in the upcoming elections.
But I want people to understand, too, that the results had nothing to do with me. I got them at 8 o'clock.
Yes.
I got them at 8 o'clock, and I brought them here on the show.
But persons must also realize I served 3 terms as a backbencher with a meager salary, of $28,000 a year. What I feel worse about sometimes when I reflected and I kind of watched some of the presentations in Parliament was the fact that I gave account to myself. And it's good when you could kind of do some introspection. And I realized that many times I was caught in this conundrum where I had to present, where it was 4 of us. The Honorable Glennis Hannah Martin, Canada 10, the member for Exuma is coming in. And I'm there as leader of opposition business. And the present Prime Minister is trying to get his stuff together to come to Parliament. And I'm told by the governing side at that time, by my good friend, member for Carmichael, the Honorable Desmond Bannister, I'll always be totally grateful to him as long as I live. Desmond Bannister made me the member of Parliament I became in the halls of Parliament.
So he was most helpful to you?
Most helpful to me with the works in Fresh Creek, the works all through the constituency, the works that were done in Mangrove Key, the mailboats were dragging, and Tom Hannabout and others, and Desmond Bannister was there for me through thick and thin. And I got to be there. We're speaking to a serious bill, and while we are presenting, we learned that the House is going to be closed at 1 p.m., so we must now present, and I must now say something, and I become very parochial, and I refer to my community because I'm trying to what we call pad and make time for the leader to speak. And I said to myself, in some instances, I maybe shouldn't have gotten up and said anything. And, it's, hindsight is 20/20 vision. And those are some of the moments I really felt badly about in the halls of Parliament.
Well, it seems as though, Picewell, and you are deserving, truly, you are the second most successful member of Parliament for South and Central Andros, and you have not gotten your fair due. You have not gotten that respect and regard or that acknowledgement. It seems as though your organization, the PLP, let you down and truly didn't recognize you. You stood and you carried the load, as you said, as opposition leader at the time in the House of opposition leader. Those roles that are played in the House of Assembly, and you were sitting here, never given a substantive appointment, shoved to the side before 2021, and say, no, that's okay, go sit down. We don't want you. We having somebody else.
I feel that God's grace has kept me, and I carry those scars very well.
You're scarred?
Many times I sat in Parliament scarred. You're making $28,000 a year, and you heard Brother God earlier talking about the onerous demands that are being made. You're going to pastoral anniversary. There are school events that are being held, and you would want to assist with scholarships and having people come to New Providence for medical reasons. And you can't do it. You're handicapped. You're trying to get from New Providence to Andros, and sometimes $200 in your pocket. But people on the ground cannot know that. You can't show that. The hurt is there. It's real for me. I'm a real hometown boy. But at the end of the day, the people in Central, Mangrove, and Southern just looked at me to see me as a sign of hope. That things could get better.
And you were a sign
and
of hope.
I tried to live that no matter what. I would not trade what I would have gone through for anything, because it made me a better person. But I tell anybody who's going into politics for just the glitz and the glamour, it's more than that. Go with a sense of service, an attitude of servitude to give your best to the people that you're going to represent.
Well, it's unfortunate that after doing so well for 3 consecutive terms, being elected by the people of South Andros, and again, the second successful person to do so, second to the father of the nation himself, Sir Lyndon Pindling, that here it is, you are sitting here with nothing to show for it. Yeah, you did some stuff. You credit Desmond Bannister with some stuff. You credit even this Prime Minister.
Leslie Miller, I can't forget also Leslie Miller got the works out of it, the gymnasium and also the water in South Andros. And also I want to say thanks to the Member of Parliament for Long Island, Adrian Gibson, who continued the water supply. For $13.7 million water in South Andros.
Adrian, who is in court right now, he assisted you.
My friend, when it comes to politics, I try to straddle that, what I call that playing field, because at the end of the day...
No, you've always done that. I remember being a reporter and attending a function that you had, and there were you and Desmond out to dinner. And discussing what was best for South and Central Andros. I do remember that.
He loves his hometown. He's an ethnocentric son of the soil. He loves Andros, and I felt good to have him as my friend. And Desmond Bannister, Leslie O'Miller, the present Prime Minister, and those were there for me. They supported my efforts, and I want to say a special thank you to them. And also persons in the local community, like the Terry DeValier, for example.
So why weren't you given a nomination in 2020?
I walked away.
I
walked away.
You walked away.
I didn't feel
Are you bitter? Are you angry?
No,
or you just feel...
No. I am too grateful to my God and to my family and those who love me and pray for me daily. I've moved on. The thing is, I don't even hold ill will towards...
So it's unfair for people to say Leon Lundy getting more done than Picewell ever did.
Oh, well, at the end of the day, that's why I had to come here when brother God, Brother God put all that. If I were in certain environments, someone told me the other day, you are now becoming a receptacle to Brother God's bovine excrement, Brother Picewell. You must go and defend your record. And I said, I would do just that.
Wordsmith.
He knows that. And, God, I listened as he eloquently defended the members in the Southern District of New Providence. And I'm saying, here's God. I wanted Brother Charles Miller and Norwood Ramming listening to him this evening in South Andros. His Adventist brothers, who I almost became a purveyor of good news and also a conveyor belt for some of their things. He knows of which I speak.
He's become mischievous, yes.
And then, he puts it on me. And I knew example. When the former Prime Minister Hubert Ingham says to me, South Andros, I say, yes, sir. You've done more than some cabinet ministers in this country. I am comforted by that fact.
Wow.
So if Hubert Ingham, who I know, who we call Papa, and who I look up to, he and B.J. Knowledge were the standard bearers of me in the Halls of Parliament. I don't hide, not duck.
So nobody present is a standard bearer for you?
Well, I said, the present Prime Minister has been around long enough to become that for me. No matter what people say, I respect Philip Brave Davis. He's given me an opportunity, and we have moved beyond that. And the thing is with life, you don't only live a short life if you're bitter and hate. You move on. You express yourself as a man. You move on. And at the end of the day, I'm a PLP. I want the PLP to remain in power. And I'm dedicated to the cause, because no matter what, no other cause is more progressive than Progressive Liberal Party cause for the people of our country.
Speaking of the cause, we talked about the downtown redevelopment project and how it's just come to a standstill. Then we saw the abandoned building right there being blamed for the start of that fire last week that wiped dozens of people out of a home. What are your thoughts on where downtown now sort of sits? Just
disappointed. From Perry Christie's time when I was elected the first time in 2007, way back, me and the Honorable Shane Gibson, Leslie Miller, present Governor General, we all sat in the back row listening to the plan. At that time, Ed Fields, Vaughn Roberts, the list goes on. Antonius Roberts and the late Jackson Burnside. These are all the discussions we heard. We sat in the late Dr. Gail Saunders. And now I want to commend the present Deputy Prime Minister, my good friend. For now, I see a good turtle is on the wall. Some painting has taken place. Let me tell you what makes me feel bad. I go to the Turks and Caicos Islands to Providenciales, and I go on Grace Bay. I'm looking at 5 miles of glamour and glitz and restaurants all along. I go to Barbados, and I land at Grantley Adams' airport, and I'm driving on the Hilton on the Front Street. You can see on both sides. Then I go to the 7-mile stretch, and the Cayman Islands and the same. And I'm saying, my God, here's New Providence, Nassau, the center of commerce in our beautiful Commonwealth, in our metropolitan community. And here we are, we come from what we call Fort Charlotte at the entry point by Saunders Beach, and we get as far as East Street, and the rest of the place is derelict, going to the Sidney Poitiers Bridge. My God, we should be able to get it fixed, and I have confidence reposed in the Deputy Prime Minister that he's going to get it done. the Honorable I. Chester Cooper, my friend, and now acting Prime Minister, sign the COI tomorrow, and let's get it done.
With COI now?
No, I don't mean independent COI. He ain't doing that on me. He's my real friend. And so I am saying to him, I have confidence in him that we will get it all done, that Bay Street needs to get fixed up. And the Stop and Shop in those buildings had become an eyesore. And I'm glad now. I don't want to wish no one no harm through fire or whatever, or displacement, what have you. But at the end of the day, I think it's a time now for us to do some assessing and to get the relevant fighting material in place. I heard the stories in Abaco. It's kind of really disappointing to hear that. And you can imagine that as God sits up in Nassau and has now become the purveyor of some good news and bad news. But don't even try to get finding for us in Andros back in my time. And I'm in Parliament screaming for it and nothing is done. And in Nassau, they got one good fire engine. Lord have mercy.
One.
But I think better days are coming.
One fire engine.
President Prime Minister has heard the cry, and I know Philip Brave Davis, he's going to make it happen. You don't have to say no more, call the fire engine. Brave is going to have plenty fire engine in town pretty shortly, I know that.
Make it happen. Make it happen now. Picewell, I want to invite you back on this show because I know you have other thoughts on local government and how that can really be impactful and effective here in the capital. And so certainly I would love to hear more of your thoughts and just even to hear it just occasionally.
Yeah.
Just occasionally.
I'll be glad. But let's don't let Garth once again.
No, I wouldn't let them beat you up anymore because Picewell was the second most successful member of parliament for the Central and South Andros constituency. You all put some respect on his name.
Thank you very kindly. One day, Sir Picewell.
That part. One day, Sir Picewell. I for that. I want to thank you all so much, of course, at the top of the show, my contributors, Ellington Ferguson and Garth Rosborough. In this segment, of course, the hometown boy, former member of parliament and ambassador, Picewell Forbes. Thank you very, very much. It's good to see you as always, and I invite you back, know that, on this platform, and we can discuss other things for nation building. I want to thank all of you this evening. By the way, again, that poll started at 2, it finished at 7. I got the latest results at 8. I gave them to you. It's so wonderful having you tuned in this evening. I look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.